If you are looking for a modern slasher movie with plenty of blood and guts that gives you the vibe of the good old days, look no further than Terrifier 2, a thrilling, whimsical nightmare. Some say that it is a gore fest, while others say it is a masterpiece of 2022. It's me, I'm others. Now, I realize this movie has some mixed reviews due to it being over 2 hours long. Technically, 2 hours and 18 minutes long at that. Um, you know, it could have been shorter, okay? I'm sure you could have fit everything that you needed to in an hour and 30 minute or even an hour and 45 minutes. 2 hours and 18 minutes is a bit steep, but hear me out. Damien Leone's Terrifier 2 2022 set the stage for new age slasher movies, in my opinion. I really can't say that there's anything else like it. I mean, Art the Clown is one of those iconic characters that is not only terrifying, thus the name Terrifier, but is also whimsical and funny and just arguably artistic. Probably that is probably why his name is Art the Clown. But the thing that I love about him is that he never speaks. His body language says it all, and he is like a combination of a mime and a clown, except he is the direct antithesis of a clown that you would normally think of. You know, the ones that are all colorful, basically wearing rainbows, smiling, making balloon animals for kids. I wanted to talk about the film today, mainly because Terrifier 3 is coming up in just a couple of weeks, which I will also be reviewing. But I've been wanting to review this movie for a while, so here we go. First, we're going to go like through the movie. We're just going to go over what it's about, what happens in the movie. There is spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want to know any spoilers, just skip to the end straight where the review is. Basically, the film takes off where Art's resurrected. He ends up killing the security guard by gouging out his eyes and using one of the eyes to stuff it into his eye socket. Art finds himself at the local laundromat. He strips all of his blood soaked clothing off so he can wash up and start fresh. So he strips completely naked, unaware of the man asleep in the chair that's the only other person in the laundromat. He's completely naked, reading a newspaper, reading a headline about a local family being murdered and laughing hysterically. But he is silent, okay? He is not laughing out loud. He's laughing internally, like we all do. Suddenly, the washing machine stops, and Art turns around and sees a little creepy clown girl in the corner. She stares right at him. She looks like a miniature version of Art, but as a little girl. They make eye contact. She ends up having diarrhea all over the floor. Art looks so intrigued, like, man, that is exactly how I would greet somebody else that I just met, by shitting all over the floor. She comes over there, they're playing patty cake silently. They're having a great time. He looks so amused right now. Art finally made his first friend. After that, we finally meet the main characters, Sienna and Jonathan. Sienna has been making her angelic like costume with her beautiful feathery wings. Jonathan wants to dress up as Art for Halloween. His sister, Sienna, is not even silently judging him, but heavily judging him, which honestly, that's like the equivalent of dressing up as a real serial killer such as Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween. So after dinner, Sienna falls asleep watching a show called Clown Cafe. Naturally, she wakes up in a dream that is the Clown Cafe. The dream sequence goes on for entirely too long, in my opinion. They could have trimmed off a good portion of this, mainly because the song, after a while, was kind of getting on my nerves. But I still love the scene regardless. So he's giving everybody some candy. He gives Sienna his heart. Sienna's disgusted, but she's trying to play it cool. So Art takes out his Tommy gun and naturally starts blasting everybody. So everybody's dead except for the singer. He actually sets the singer that's singing the Clown Cafe song on fire. Sienna ends up getting out of the dream by pulling out her father's sword. As soon as Art tries to set her ablaze, she actually deflects it with the sword. She wakes up out of the dream and her wings that she just made are engulfed in flames. So now her room is on fire. Her mom's pissed off at her. She thinks she left the candles on overnight, even though Sienna swears that no candles were lit. After this happens, Art starts to torment Sienna and Jonathan, such as showing up at Jonathan's school with the little clown girl playing with a dead possum in the hallway. When Jonathan sees them, they end up throwing it at him and he runs away. They disappear. So it looks like Jonathan brought in a dead animal and vandalized the school. Meanwhile, Sienna is shopping for a new pair of wings at her local Halloween store, which is actually filmed at a real Halloween store in New York. I love that they did that. I'm so glad that they didn't build a set for that. They actually used a local business, which in the first Terrifier, they also did this a very similar thing. They filmed in an actual pizza restaurant in New York. So I really love that they did that and that they didn't have to build a set. We love supporting our local small businesses. If I was in New York, I would definitely go visit this Halloween store. She finally meets Art in the flesh because he's just standing there at the doorway, just creepily looking at her, smiling. And she's obviously freaked out. So she gets her wings and she goes to the checkout counter. She quickly realizes that she left her bag. Art immediately slams her bag on the counter. This scene is my favorite scene in the entire movie. He's funny. She's freaked out, but he's just having a fun time tormenting her. The store clerk doesn't even really realize what's happening. He just thinks some dude in a costume is being weird. But she finally checks out. She leaves, does not look back. So the store clerk's trying to check out Art, and Art's just going through his big old trash bag full of shit, trying to find money, but he keeps pulling out weapons and just placing them on the counter. And the store clerk has finally had enough, and he's like, yo, dude, I'm about to beat you up. Kills the store clerk, all right? And then he decapitates him. Art starts killing Sienna's friends, including her mother, which I felt really bad about. But I love how the mother got her last phone call with Sienna and they seem to have made up, because they've been fighting throughout the film. Right after that, the mom gets her head blown off by Art because Art had vandalized her car. Obviously, the mother thinks it was Jonathan that did it because they just got in a fight and Jonathan ran away. Art and the clown girl end up kidnapping Jonathan and taking him to the abandoned theme park. She's out partying with her friends. She starts seeing the little clown girl and she freaks out and has a panic attack. So they decide that they're going to leave. On the way back to Sienna's house, Sienna gets a call from her brother, which is actually the little clown girl mimicking the voice of her brother, tricks her into meeting them at the abandoned theme park. There is another kill. As soon as Sienna walks into the park, her friends that are waiting in the car, they start making out. Art gets over there while the boyfriend of Sienna's friend is taking a pee, and he does I don't even want to say it, okay? But the boyfriend is wearing a shirt that says just the tip, so I'm sure you can guess. Basically, this scene makes me, and I'm sure plenty of other people, never want to pee outside again. Friend runs in there after Sienna. She's freaked out because she just saw her boyfriend get killed by Art, so she's running. Art does catch up to her and he brutally kills her in the bathroom. So Sienna she walks into that. She's hysterically crying because her best friend is dead in a brutal killing, and she finally sees Jonathan on the other side. Art spots them, and thus begin the long battle between good versus evil, because this is the last act of the movie where Sienna and Art are constantly fighting. Art starts chain whipping her, and there's a point where Sienna ends up just crawling over Jonathan and trying to shield his body, and Art's just whipping her with the chain over and over and over again until she finally catches it and then whips it right back at him. I really love how they capture the bond of these two siblings. Despite the slight lack of character development, they still are able to capture the bond of these siblings quite well. They're fighting for a long time. Sienna gets stabbed with her father's sword and gets knocked into a pit of water. It looks like she's back in the clown cafe in that pit of water. She ends up getting resurrected from the sword wound. It's very superhero-esque. Finally burst out of that water to go save her brother. At this point, Art's just trying to wake up Jonathan because he's passed out. Not nibbling, but he's straight up chewing. Jonathan wakes up to that. What would you do if you woke up and somebody's chewing on your wrist or your ankle? And Sienna gets resurrected and just comes up there and just starts fighting Art all over again. She finally wins. Thank God. I don't know why, but I thought Art was just gonna kill her and maybe Jonathan would survive, or kill Jonathan and maybe Sienna would survive. I figured at least one of them, if not both of them, would die because it's Art. But she decapitates him because she doesn't want to take any chances. Although they do see the little clown girl take Art's head. And there's a scene after the movie ends of Vicky. Vicky was a victim that survived from Terrifier 1 that ended up turning into a villain herself. She gives birth to Art's head in the mental hospital. The man has become reborn. That just proves, he's immortal. He has his downtime like Michael Myers. And then after that, he's resurrected again. So now let's get into my actual review of this movie and what I would rate it. Is there were a lot of questions that were still not answered, or new questions that have popped up. That can be a pro for some people, especially because you want to keep things mysterious and learn as you go. When more movies come out, you want things to unfold in a certain way. So, it really just depends on the type of person you are. For me, I don't really mind that much. But for some people, they don't want to have to speculate. They want the answers and, why this is the way it is. So that could be a con for some people. I'm neutral on that aspect. But I still thought I would mention it because there is a lot of questions, okay? But I think some of those are going to be addressed in Terrifier 3. I mean, the director himself has admitted that this was purposeful. David Howard Thornton has done it again. He is an amazing Art the Clown. I mean, he doesn't even talk, but his mannerisms and body language and his acting are, it's just phenomenal. Arguably, in my opinion, the best slasher movie character this decade. I mean, in the last 10 years, definitely a horror icon in my eyes, and the best slasher character that we have had in a very long time. With that being said, overall, my score that I would give this movie would be an 8 out of 10. I almost gave it a 9, but I had to dock it down a point because of the fact of, there is a good storyline, but it's not great. It could be a lot better. And the runtime is just, pretty long. I mean, that's pretty standard stuff. But yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I still love this movie. I love Art the Clown as a character. I just think he's so funny and unique and just ruthless. So that is why I'm scoring it that high. I would highly recommend the movie to horror fans, especially those who enjoy slasher movies. I would not recommend this movie to people who cannot handle a lot of gore because you're gonna get grossed out, and you may be one of those people in the theater that legitimately throw up because there's always somebody. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'd love to know y'all's thoughts about the movie down in the comments below. Also, I will be linking my TikTok in the description box because I'm also going to post like a short on TikTok of my review. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Happy spooky season, you guys. I'll see you on the next one.